Welcome back to the Act Two podcast, a podcast for the real-life working screenwriter. I'm Tasha Hugh.
And I'm Josh Hallman.
And we are Act Two, a network and support group for the everyday working screenwriter, which is you. Thank you for joining us here today. I'm so grateful for you.
Oh, wow. That's like a start of a meditative.
It feels, yeah. This is what this podcast is about. Just calm in the storm,
Wow.
you know?
I'm worked up.
Please remember to, there is no calm in Josh's storm.
No.
Please remember to subscribe to the podcast because we have really cool upcoming topics that we don't want you to miss out. And you'll get a little alert that says, hey, so-and-so is being interviewed. And I really, really want to listen to them. And that just makes you aware of that. You can also give us a rating, write a comment, or send us questions and your topic suggestions at ActTwoWriters@gmail.com, all spelled out, or on our Instagram and Twitter and TikTok at ActTwoWriters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that the first time we've advertised TikTok?
I think it might be, which is, we're really bad at advertising ourselves, guys.
Yeah.
But we're everywhere.
Yeah, we are.
I'm Story Thursday on Instagram, and I'm not going to keep doing my Twitter, actually, because I am no longer posting there. I don't use it.
Yeah, I'm Josh Hallman on Instagram. I'm on Twitter or X or whatever, but
yeah. But we have an Act 2 Twitter, so go to there instead because that's always being updated, and that's kind of where we hang out now instead of on our own personal ones.
You know, Tasha, what might be important to say is our Instagram is ActTwoWriters.
Yeah.
I think maybe go over there as well.
Go over there. All right. Today we have a cool episode. We have a couple listener questions that we are going to be addressing. One is a follow-up to one of our topics about free work, which is great. And another one is one that's come up about working with a producer and how to approach a producer about a particular thing. And then we're going to get into some February theatrical releases to see if Josh is excited about them, and get a little behind the scenes of those movies and see if you're excited about them. Which I think is a pretty great episode.
I think I know it's a great episode, and I'm excited about what we have. I've really loved the last couple episodes we've done. We had a guest on before, but I love when we just do episodes together.
Yeah.
But I know we say this often, but we're having more people on. I'm in the process of getting us some actors on.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. Cannot wait to talk to actors about how much they hate writers. It's going to be one of my favorite things.
I think they're going to say I love writers. I feel like a lot of actors now write as well. So I think that's where it's going to be interesting.
I think they have to in order to generate their own business, the same way that for us, like directing can help us actually like take control of our product and do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Josh, do you have any this week's in writings?
I want to briefly talk about something. Do you have any?
I do. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Let's do it.
This week in writing.
I just wanted to touch on AI for a quick second, a hot second.
Okay.
And I'm just kind of dipping into this because it's such an important topic for writers, and I think a lot of people spiral out about it. I did the other day. I was messaging you because I
and then you made me spiral. Yeah.
I talked to this AI guy who he is plugged in. This dude is a guy who's smoking 15 cigarettes a day. He sits with a screen that is like wrapped around him like he's from the future. He operates on everything. But I was just kind of like, where are we right now with like the state of AI? And he works with production companies and everything. And he kind of freaked me out in the sense where he was like, you have no idea what's coming. It changes month by month. Everything is like evolving faster than humans can even keep up with. That kind of freaked me out. There was that kind of stuff. And then I dipped back into this territory of like, what if this is just Y2K meets the internet, where it turns out to be something, but not end of the world stuff. And I don't know where I fall. I kind of go up and down, but I know a lot more writers have been using AI to brainstorm. I've talked to people. A lot more people I feel like are being open about it. I've played around with it. It's insane, but I kind of feel like you lose the connection to your material if you go too deep down the AI rabbit hole. So that's all I wanted to say. I wanted to just bring up just a general AI touch base.
I mean, I feel like I have so many thoughts, but I'm like so exhausted by having these conversations all the time. And usually in my own head. um, that it's just I don't know. I mean, like you say, everyone has different opinions because after you had that conversation with that guy, I had a conversation with someone who's also a creative producer who is working in AI, and he is kind of like, I wanna, like, get in with the enemy, so I'm like the spy behind enemy lines, and so that I can help production companies do things ethically, and he was more hopeful about it, and, I mean, he still questions sometimes whether, we're gonna have full AI content, which I think we will. We just will. Which is fine because I mean, humans will always bring human elements that computers just don't have, and I think there's room for just the same way there's room for CGI. And something he said that I thought was really interesting was he brought up the point that when Lucasfilm moved on from models to CGI, the way that George Lucas did that was he did not just move into CGI and leave his artists behind that he loved so much from all of his Star Wars movies. He brought them with him, which means he trained them how to use CGI so that Lucasfilm has become like the best place to go for your most realistic CGI because artists were behind it, and training artists to use AI appropriately, I think, is a smart mission. But then you also have people who are like, AI is it is a Y2K situation. It's a blip. It can't sustain itself because of the water usage, how expensive it is. It just doesn't make sense. It's going to all kind of the bubble will burst and we'll all kind of relax. And yes, I do think it will replace certain jobs or people will need to learn different skills to meet it, but it's not going to be this huge destructive thing. So I don't like trust the people who are like, you're all like your business is no longer going to exist. That's just like it's insane, but it's easy to get caught up in that fear. But I mean, this has happened throughout history. People, we've had industrial revolutions that would change the way we do things, and people would freak out like that, or people would adjust. People would learn how to harness it and make a ton of money from that. Like it's just has always been part of our evolution.
Can I say one last thing?
Yeah.
What I get worried about with writing and writers is people throwing their scripts into AI programs for notes
Hmm.
and AI coming back with a very positive review. And then they got notes back from humans who are like, well, no, because of this, this, and this. And the person got like somewhat defensive because of,
Mm. But ChatGPT told me this.
yeah. And so,
That's interesting. But also that's great, right? Because it again shows that ChatGPT doesn't know shit about storytelling. Um, an interesting experiment that I did, because I'm a nerd, is I had ChatGPT start like 5 different D&D campaigns for me, and each one was in a totally different world. I wanted myself to be a totally different character, and I just told it to DM for me to guide the game, and every single one of those, again, completely different worlds, completely different starting points, all ended up with the same problems, the same story. It ended up just being the same. And Paul also did this with him. So he's making different choices than I would have made as a different human. And his also became the same. There's so many cliches inside of it. And that's just so interesting to me because that's where it is right now. It can't create story the way that humans can. And it can't understand what the fuck we're thinking and doing and the weirdness that we are. Which hopefully it never will. But I also understand that it develops very, very, very quickly, especially the more we fucking upload our scripts into it. You're giving it the power to defeat us.
yeah, the more that everyone's like, and the thing is all the scripts are uploaded and not just people who are currently writing, but I feel like people have uploaded,
Sure.
Back to the Future and
Absolutely.
Michael Clayton and all these incredible scripts from the
Yeah.
past that anyway, let's move on.
It's the one
Oh,
last thing.
yeah,
It is
yeah.
the most interesting thing to like watch ourselves devolve this way because we, the people, have the power to stop it from taking our jobs. And we're just like, oh, well, like, we'll keep paying for Chat GPT and keep whatever. And like, if we just like marched and said, we're not going to do AI anymore, or we just stopped paying for it, like it would go away. All right. My This Week in Writing is less depressing and difficult to talk
Pick
about.
us up, Tasha.
So I watched one battle after another last night.
Okay.
Um, and now I want to take karate.
This explains the
Yeah.
text message I received from you.
Late last night, I texted Josh. So, your daughter does karate. Are teens and adults in the same class? Because is that normal? Because I don't want to. I had this conversation with my husband. I was like, I don't want to go do karate with teenagers. He's like, why? They're just kids. I was like, yeah, I don't want to go back to high school and have these kids like making fun of me as I can't do karate moves.
So it's funny you say this. Yeah, my daughter was in Taekwondo, and now she fizzled out. That's a whole other conversation.
Oh man,
That's a depressing dad story. But
that is sad.
they had, it's funny you say this because when they got their belts, and I think she was like a green belt or something, there were adults in the testing. So there was like kids would go first and then adults would go. And they did the testing in front of a crowd of people. Like I was sitting there watching these adults train for their black belt
Yeah.
because they came last and it was a show of respect and all these different things. And I actually had the thought, I was like, I don't want to get a belt in front of like a bunch of 10-year-olds. But I'm sure there's groups that don't.
I don't think so. As far
Really?
as I can tell, in terms of just like Google photos of all of these places I quickly researched last night, you're mixed in.
Oh,
It's
Jesus.
just adults and kids. Yeah.
I think that's a way to be like, hey, there's this teenage black belt over here. You're a green belt. You have to learn from this little teenager over here.
I mean, it's about humbling yourself. And
Man, no. We paid our dues. I'm not intermixing with teenagers.
I'm doing
done.
it. I'm doing it. I'll let you know how it goes.
Oh, you are?
I am.
Can I just make a suggestion?
Yes, please.
Throw money at the problem. Just take private classes
This
all
is
the way.
what I'm saying. This is what I wanted to do. And Paul was
Yeah.
like, you can't do private. You have to go to a dojo.
I think we got to talk Paul off this now.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. There's literally a place around the corner. So like the universe has established this like easy path for me to learn karate. And there's like a 2-week pass you can get. And if it is too mortifying to do karate in front of 10-year-olds, or like as soon as a 16-year-old like makes fun of me or like sniggers at me as I like miss something, I'm gonna be like private lessons.
I will say, at least in my experience, they're very respectful. And the second someone steps out of line and makes like some peep, the sensei will be like, yo, just like boom, like go get out of here or something. I'm like, oh
Sure.
shit.
Yeah,
It's a crazy scenario.
it's not Cobra Kai.
Oh,
Or it could be. It could be.
I hope. I pray that you're like, I'm in this like crazy dojo. They're like really aggressive. And then like in 6 months, I just see you just like doing crime on the
Sweep
street.
the leg.
Just beating the shit out of people.
Oh my god.
I support it. I'm in.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Okay. All right, let's get into some listener questions.
Uh-huh.
I already told you I used to beat kids up in school, so this is just me
Oh.
fulfilling my true self as an adult.
Listen, to all the listeners, there is this version of Tasha that exists in this world where if there was like a flashback of the Tasha story, you'd see this young kid that I've only heard little bits and pieces about, and I'm just like the most fascinating thing. Whenever you would talk about your youth, I'd be like, wait. Let's go back to this. You beat someone up in a hallway at school? And I just love it. I love your origin story.
Yeah. Listen, I wasn't a bully. Let's be clear.
No, you weren't the bully. You were
No.
like a little Avenger, like running
Yeah, I
through
was
the
taking
hallways.
care of the bullies.
No, that's what's so fascinating about it. And you just casually drop it. You'd be like, I got this inspiration because, there's this one person who's trying to beat me up or something. And I'd be like, wait, what?
I was like a teenage John Wick.
Just all right, all right. Main
Uh,
topic ish.
okay, main topic-ish. All right. Our first listener question comes as a follow-up to our episode we did about free work, which I hope you all listened to and enjoyed because free work is a big part of our jobs and a struggle that we constantly go through. And I hope that you continually talk with your friends and other writers about free work as it comes up because every situation can be different. Some situations are like, yeah, you probably have to do that. Some situations are like, absolutely do not do that. You're being taken advantage of. And it really is a case by case basis. So as it comes up for you, please follow up with questions for us, as our friend Stephen did in emails. So Stephen listened to the episode and he said, I actually have a very different situation with free work. And his situation is that he had been a playwright and he has this great play that a production company is very interested in. And his manager has said that it's a bad idea to partner with this production company who wants Stephen to adapt it on spec. Like, adapt your own play
Hmm.
on spec, but we want to be a part of it once you're done with it, basically. And the manager says, no, like, let's not do that. It would be better if you just spec it on your own. That way you can send the script out to a wider audience and try to get more interest and potentially a bigger producer or a more right producer for your project. And Stephen was wondering, like, why would his manager suggest this? Especially that he likes this production company and thinks they might be a great fit.
Mm.
Josh, what do you think? Have you come up to this situation before?
Well, no, actually, not when I've had IP created already.
Or just specking something that
Oh,
we've all been to generals and been like, "Oh, like I have this idea and this idea." And if a production company said, "Ooh, like that idea is great. Like we should work on that together."
yeah.
But now you're like, "Well, like should I just write this on my own and then at the end of it if they're interested, still great, but I could also potentially take it to other people." You've definitely been in that
Oh,
situation.
100%. So I've definitely written with producers coming out of a general, and they're like, "This will happen." You pitch an idea, and some executive gets you really excited, and some producers like, "I really like that. Like, can we work on that?" Or and then they'll follow up about it. And I've definitely gone down the road of developing something with a specific company. And to be honest, there are often I think I probably would rather have developed it on my own than gone back to that person, especially when it's your own idea. Can I tell a little anecdote?
Please do.
This actually just recently happened to me where I had pitched this idea to my manager. Like I had this idea and I said, I kind of have this like general thought of this, family thing and blah, 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 blah. And he was like, I think I know exactly the producer for you to talk to about this. So he connects me to the producer and I kind of tell this producer what the general idea is. And he was like, that's interesting. And he kind of then spitballed a few other ideas and kind of got me excited about those other ideas. And I was like, okay, I could see what he was saying. And then I kind of got excited and I kind of lost track of my original idea, but we were kind of at a new place with an idea. And so I wrote a quick little treatment and I sent it to this producer. And the producer comes back and was like, man, I have to tell you, I don't think this is like that undeniable idea. And I was like, wait, what? Because it kind of threw me off because
Mhm.
I thought we were like developing something together. And he was like, let's try to find something else. And I regretted doing all of this stuff
Mhm.
because I feel like I ended up kind of changing what I was doing based off of this idea that I got excited about. And then you kind of like lose track of it. And I was like, I just wish, which is what I'm doing now, is I kind of had gone back to my original idea of what that initial concept was and pursuing that. So
Yep.
I'm saying that because I actually agree with this manager where if you have, especially if you have IP and
Yep.
especially if it's your world, this is your baby. And you don't want to have someone come in and say, I really like this, but what if we change this one thing? And what if we change this? And you're going to regret that in the long term.
Yes. I love that story. Thank you for sharing that. It's so real. That's exactly what the risk is. That's what happens is they wanna be a partner with you, and so they start giving you notes and giving you ideas, and then you feel like, "Oh, no, like, I'm partnered with this person, I have to start taking these ideas, and are they right?" And especially if we're kind of earlier in our careers, we're not maybe trusting ourselves as much as we should, or we haven't had enough experience with what works and what doesn't yet, in reality that, we maybe take notes that we shouldn't, and I've definitely done this before, so it's a cautionary tale of not doing this,
Yeah.
basically. I totally agree with you, Josh. If you, especially if you have your own idea, especially if it's actually written already and you just
Oh,
need to
of course.
adapt it into a screenplay, but even if it's just your idea, like you're talking about, just write it. Just write it completely on your own because you're going to write your best version of it. And if you're concerned that writing it on your own, you might not get the best screenplay, meaning like, gosh, you really wish you had a partner who you could like bounce ideas off of. And maybe that's why you're drawn to having a producer at this early stage. Use your manager for that if you can trust them. Find writing community, find writers groups, other people, other writers who can help you with that because as soon as you tie down an idea with a producer, especially at this early stage, not only will the A version happen, which is what Josh just pitched, they could change your thing until it's unrecognizable to you. But B, you when you're done with this script, it's exactly as your manager says. You're not giving yourself sort of the best options that are out there. There could be someone who has a really great deal with a studio who would love this. And that is just a much more direct path for this thing getting made and also you getting paid even more. And they also have a bigger network or more connections and they can get this director attached to it and this actor to like you could have this amazing package with someone else but you just don't know until you try it. And then the good news is you're not going to lose this other production company because as soon as you're done with the script, you also go out to them, especially as a courtesy. And that's you absolutely do that as a courtesy. You don't just say "fuck you." Not now that it's done, I'm not going. They loved it before it was ever a script, so absolutely they should get a first look at it. And that's when your manager comes into play or your agents as they start to strategize. And maybe this production company at the end of the day will end up being the correct one. But you don't have to partner with them at this early stage. Go and write it. That's our superpower. We can write our own scripts and have our own properties and take more ownership of it. As soon as you sort of get in bed with a production company at this earlier like spec stage, the more it's theirs and less yours. And the problems I've also faced as sort of an anecdote for me is that even if it was my original idea, like let's say Josh, you continue to develop this idea with this producer, I can no longer take that script to someone else because this production company, this producer's footprints are all over my script and now it's ours. Even though their name is not on the title page, it's technically ours. And sure, I could go sell it somewhere else and then just say, "Hey, sue me if you have a problem." But now you're starting to burn bridges, and plenty of writers do this, by the way. I just don't advocate for it. So, as clean and free as you can possibly be with your spec is better for yourself because at the end of the day, you want your own material so that you can go to other people. And now I'm talking in circles, but I just feel very strongly that this manager is actually in the right.
If you're worried about offending somebody at the production company, that's not going to happen. Like that, you can have your manager or yourself, especially if you know the person, write whoever it is you're speaking with at the production company, just say, listen, I just want to take this on my own. I need to just kind of lock in and write the spec for this. Very much looking forward to coming to you first when we finish this.
Yep.
And anyone will understand that. That's it. What you said, that's your superpower as a writer, especially when
Yeah.
you have the IP.
Agree. And also something that your manager and you can strategize with when you get to that point is potentially giving this producer a first look like you're saying like, "Oh, I'm going to send it to you first and you'll get like a week
Hmm.
to read it before we send it to other people." And what that does, which is really beneficial for you, is it gives them a ticking clock. Once you send the script to them, once you're done, you send it to them. They now have a week to decide if they really want to engage on this. And what that will force them to do, which they wouldn't have done in such an urgent way if they were working with you from the beginning. What it forces them to do is, I have a week before you're sending it to huge studio producers with, with deals at studios. okay, then I better come up with a fucking plan. I better have this really cool plan, maybe get it to an actor really quickly and put a package together to entice this writer to come to me instead of someone else and just forces them to take action. But also, the extra benefit is you are giving them that sort of friendly first look,
Yeah.
essentially. And that's totally normal. And again, your manager can help you, as Josh is saying, and just saying, yeah, I thank you so much. I'm so glad that you're interested. I'm going to write this thing and excited to have you read it when it's done is totally fine and normal.
And the last thing, on a very personal note, there is nothing better than that feeling when you finish your spec that came out of your brain. This is my obviously my own opinion, where and it's just you're done and you're taking it out, and it's a very that should be a very exciting feeling and a very empowering feeling of like this came from me. It's like giving birth, and then now it's that's a little extreme. Sorry to all of the women in the world. Uh, but yeah, it's like it's your baby, and you're like,
Yeah.
I just did this. I made this from nothing, and I did it my way, which is obviously something I latch onto, and here it is. So that's you got to have that feeling. Don't rob yourself of that feeling.
Yeah. Do you think that this advice changes at all if this writer did not have a manager?
I actually kind of do. A little bit, because if you don't have someone advocating on your behalf, and also now you just have the manager who just made a decision on your behalf and you're agreeing with this person, they are now in the corner of you making this decision and kind of feeling as though they need to do their job. I would definitely think otherwise. I'd probably still just write it and then come back to the production company, but I do think that slightly changes the equation given we've all been there. I
Yeah.
understand that. I know that feeling of
Yeah.
being like, "Oh, man, I'm gonna lose this person if that," but that won't happen, but I know that feeling.
Yeah, and it won't happen because producers are hungry for material that they can make and that can earn them a paycheck as well. So they're not going to miss out on an opportunity to read your script, especially if they were already excited about it when you pitched it to them, or if they read the original play, as in this example. Yeah, I feel like my brain sort of softened up on the passion of doing it on your own when I imagine not having a manager. But I think that's my own insecurities coming into play because the same exact scenario works, meaning you still write that thing on your own, they will still read it at the end of that. And you can still get wrapped up in development hell with them if you work on the spec with them, um, whether you have a manager or not. So I think the advice still is the same, though more understandable if you don't have a manager and you get into it because then the producers become your advocate more and they become more invested in the idea. And if you don't have an advocate like a manager behind you when you're done, having an advocate already in bed with you feels easier, but I still recommend doing it on your own.
100%. I feel like we're very passionate about this. We could have probably we could talk about this for like 5 hours.
I think we're passionate about it because we've done the other thing. We've already made the mistakes. And so we know that that's pointless to go do that. So learn from our mistakes and don't do it. Feel sound like parents. Or make the mistakes and then you'll learn for yourself and you'll understand why in a more heartfelt way.
And then come back to us and let us apologize.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe it'll work out for you. That's also the weird stuff about our business. Anything is possible. Okay, the next listener question comes from a writer who is coming onto a project that a producer has. And this producer is also a writer. And they have put together basically a treatment for an original idea that they've had. But they want another writer to come on and either co write it with them or write it entirely and they'll just produce it. They, I guess, know that it's out of their wheelhouse or they don't have the bandwidth to do it themselves. So they want to bring a writer in. And this writer has read the treatment and has thoughts, wants to change some things. Now that they're in it, they're like, this is a great idea, but this needs to be different. This needs to be different in order for the story to work. And they're worried about approaching this producer with it because it's not their idea. It's this person's idea. How do I talk to that producer to not offend them? And is it within my rights to start changing this treatment? Josh, have you ever come up to this situation and what would you do?
I know that you've been in this position, so I'm very excited to hear what you have to say, but you got to let the producer know that you want to make some changes before. Yes, you say, "Hey, I love this idea. This is fantastic, and I could definitely see what you're doing here." But I would 100% say I want to make other changes because I think the story could be better.
How would you say that in the meeting?
I would say, God, I love this story. This is fantastic. I do think there's some other elements that could change that I want to tweak, and here's what they are. Boom, 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 boom. This is why I think this is kind of missing, but I see what you were trying to do with this, and this is what I think we could change to make that happen and for you to accomplish that.
Mhm.
I would have a plan. We always talk about this, having a solution to a problem. You don't want to just
Mhm.
come in and be like, this character's not arcing. You're like, okay,
Which is something we practice a lot when we do our Zoom Q&As, or, we read a script or we watch a movie and then we talk about it on
yeah,
our Patreon, is don't just say, "I didn't like this part." We challenge everyone who says they don't like this part to say, "Well, then what would you do differently?"
yeah,
Because you have to
100%.
practice the skill of noticing a flaw and then figuring out how to solve it.
That's my approach.
Yeah. I mean,
You?
that's perfect. Um, I think something just sort of like globally to think about, if this producer is giving a treatment out to another writer, and in this situation, again, either co-writing or producing, depending on what the writer wants to do, they're looking for you to come on board and say, this is how we make it better, because they either can't do it because they don't have the time, or they can't do it because they don't have the skill, and that's why they're bringing someone else in. So they want someone like you to have ideas, rather than just be a typist, basically. So just know that that's the case. And then it's exactly like you're talking about, like, this is so good because it has to be good for you to want to do it anyways. You have to love it. So these are all the reasons why I love it. It's so good. But as I was reading, it really felt like the character would probably do this instead. And so, like, here's some ideas for how I would do that. And again, it's not just like, I really feel like the character arc isn't working. Period. End of sentence. I really think like the character arc could be a lot stronger. It could, this, and this are ways that I would solve that problem. Is really, really helpful because it shows that you know how to analyze a script, that you know how to analyze problems, that you know how to solve problems, and it gives them the confidence to hand this project over to you because, again, it's their original idea. So it's the same as us. If we had an original idea and I wanted to hand it over to Josh and he's like, I'm going to change things, and he didn't tell me why, I'd be like, well, why? I thought this was great. Explain to me why it's not great. And oh, okay, now, oh, I see what you're saying now, as you start to explain to me what the character journey could be, and just paint a picture for them the way you would in any pitch of why this new version could work while being extremely complimentary all at the same time. So nothing to add. I think your story is great. But that's what they're looking for as some perspective on their view.
Amen.
We did it.
We did it.
All right. I'm gonna wrap up with some theatrical releases that are in theaters in February, Josh, to see if you are excited by any of these. Are you ready? I'm gonna try to rapid fire as much as possible.
Oh, wow, we're doing it. Okay.
Okay. This is an Are You Excited February edition.
Are you excited?
All right, February 13th. Good luck. Have fun. Don't die. Science fiction, action adventure comedy written by Matthew Robinson, directed by Gore Verbinski, starring, of course, Sam Rockwell. This premiered at Fantastic Fest over in Austin, Texas, and it is about a man from the future who arrives in an LA diner at 10:10 p.m., announcing that he is there to save the world and needs volunteers to join him. Fun fact about this, Matthew Robinson initially wrote this as a TV show, but realized there was not enough to keep the story going over time. And so he decided to make it into a movie. We are seeing it in theaters. My husband is a huge fan of Sam Rockwell, so that is
Yeah.
definitely happening. I'm excited that this exists in theaters, by the way, because, yeah, we live in an age where these are more and more coming out on streaming. So, unlike Josh, I want to go support this movie.
Yeah, I don't support anything.
Cold Storage, which is a limited release. Josh, you should be on top of this. This is a horror comedy written by Josh's boy David Koepp, directed by Johnny Campbell, starring Joe Keery, Liam Neeson. It follows the attempts at containing a parasitic fungus that leaks out of an abandoned military base based on a book by David Koepp. Are you excited?
I am. I'm excited for it.
All right, Wuthering Heights, period romantic drama based on the book by Emily Bronte, written and directed by Emerald Fennell, who was the showrunner for season 2 of Killing Eve, which she got 2 Emmy nominations for. She also directed Promising Young Woman, which was her first ever feature film. Holy shit, what a directorial debut. Also did Saltburn, so very talented lady. Margot Robbie's Lucky Chap is producing alongside MRC. Fun fact about this one, Josh, which I think you'll appreciate, is there was a bidding war where Netflix had bid $150 million for the distribution rights of this movie. And Margot Robbie has a first look deal at Warner Brothers where she made Barbie, and they ultimately won the rights at a significantly lower offer of $80 million, but they guaranteed them it would be theatrically released and that they would get a significant marketing campaign, both of which they have, of course, delivered on. Josh, are you excited?
Happy it exists. Not sure it's for me. It came out over Valentine's Day, and I've been reading or Valentine's weekend. I've been reading a ton of stuff about how much money it's been making worldwide. This now makes a lot of sense because I feel like a lot of the reporting might be because of what you just said, that they kind of skipped past the Netflix aspect of it. Are you excited?
I've heard mixed reviews, but yes,
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm going to see it with my friends on this week, basically.
Wow. You're just on
And
top of it.
we're going. I mean, they have all read the book, and
Okay.
they are very angry that the trailer looks nothing like the book. So I think we're all fascinated by her take on it. I think
Okay.
she's kind of said like it's more inspired by Wuthering Heights than it is an adaptation. So I'm intrigued. She's a really great filmmaker doing a classic book. So yeah, I'm
And
excited.
are you going in blind? Have you read the book?
I've read the book, but not since I was like a teenager. So I
I
honestly
see.
don't really remember the book. So I am
Okay.
kind of going in blind.
Okay. Great.
Next one, Goat, animated sports comedy from Columbia Pictures and Sony Pictures, written by Aaron Bucksbaum and Ted Riley, directed by Tyree Dillahay. This has a whole bunch of stars in it, as most animated movies do: Steph Curry, Sherry Cola, Jennifer Hudson, David Harbour, Gabrielle Union. It's about an underdog goat who wants to play professional basketball and gets on his favorite team against all odds. Fun fact, Josh, you know our fun fact about this movie.
Is it about our boy Curcio?
Yes, it is.
He was on the podcast, and I remember him kind of saying, I'm working on something, or like he worked on a goat thing or something. And I just was like, the hell are you talking about?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Nick Curcio, our buddy Nick Curcio, has written on this movie.
Yeah. Congratulations to Nick Curcio.
Congratulations. Just because of how WGA works, it doesn't sound like he got credit for it, but he definitely wrote on this movie. So congratulations. That's huge. All right, Crime 101, which is the last one coming out in this week. Crime thriller written and directed by Bart Layton, based on the 2020 novella by Dawn Winslow. This, of course, stars Chris Hemsworth, Mark Ruffalo, Halle Berry. Basically the best cast of all time. It is an Amazon MGM movie, which means it's going to have a limited theatrical release, and then you can watch it at home. Fun fact, Pedro Pascal was originally set in the Mark Ruffalo role until he had to leave for Fantastic Four. Are you excited?
I am excited.
I watched an interview with Mark Ruffalo saying that he feels like Chris Hemsworth has his best performance in this movie that he's ever had. So
Really?
just keep that in mind.
Better than Thor.
He said Thor Ragnarok is his second favorite performance.
Did he really?
He did.
Okay.
Okay, moving on to February 20th, How to Make a Killing, a black comedy thriller written and directed by John Patton Ford, based on the book Israel Rank, the autobiography of a criminal by Roy Horniman. It stars Glenn Powell, Margaret Qualley, and Ed Harris. Fun fact about this screenplay was originally on the 2014 Blacklist. Josh, you maybe read it. It was called Rothschild. It was originally going to star Shia LaBeouf and Mel Gibson. Yeah, are you excited?
Number one, I'd be excited if it was a Shia and Mel Gibson movie.
It'd be pretty nuts. I'm excited that this was a script on the Blacklist from 12 years ago, and I fully support this being finally made with this amazing cast. And Glenn Powell is, of course, always charming. Margaret Qualley, like in the trailer, she looks incredible. Her performance does. I'm excited about this. It's a perfect role for him, charming killer. It's great. February 25th, Joshua. I sent you this trailer. The Bluff, a swashbuckling action thriller written by Frank E. Flowers and Joe Ballerini, directed by Frank Flowers, starring Priyanka Chopra and Carl Urban.
Yeah.
Produced by the Russo brothers. And the late 19th century Caribbean, a former pirate must protect her family and her past when her past catches up to her. And a fun fact is Zoe Saldana had originally been cast in the lead when this was at Netflix, but then she was replaced by Priyanka and she stayed on as a producer and it's now at Amazon. Additional fun fact, Tasha wishes she wrote this movie. God, it's so good.
I'm excited.
I mean, come on.
Yeah, I am. That's fun.
It's, yeah. If anyone wants to know what my taste is, it's this. This is the kind of movies I just want to write.
That is a
always.
Tasha movie if I've ever.
Yeah, 1000%. I'm just like, oh, I'm so stupid for not coming up with this idea. All right, final movie of February 27th, Scream 7, written by Guy Busick, from a story by James Vanderbilt, with Kevin Williamson directing, of course. It's a Scream sequel, but this time Neve Campbell is protecting her daughter. Josh, are you excited?
I am very excited. I didn't realize this was coming out in February. I have already looked to pre-buy tickets for Scream 7.
Shit. Okay.
I am excited. I can't believe it that I'm seeing. I just sent a photo to our friend Dave Levinson.
Friend of the podcast.
Of a billboard for Scream 7. And I just snapped it and I was saying, like, because he loves Scream. This is probably his favorite franchise. Maybe. I don't know. If someone would have told me when I was a teenager that in the year 2026, I'm going to be living in Los Angeles seeing the 7th installment of Scream and Neve Campbell's going to be in it, I'm not sure what I would have thought. I was like, what are you talking about? So yeah, but I love slasher movies. I love jump scares. I love it all.
I have not seen any Scream sequels.
What?
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
So you've seen Scream.
Yeah, loved it. But it fucked me up because I saw it too young and it destroyed me. Like in real life, I was not in a good place.
The second this podcast is done, I'm messaging Dave. That's crazy.
Yeah.
You know what? You actually might be in one of the greatest positions of all time because you could be curated in the Scream universe. And the recent Radio Silence iteration that happened where they rebooted it, and that was 3 Screams ago, which I think is just called Scream.
Yeah. Oh, with the kid, like the younger generation. But the older characters are still in it.
Yes. It's almost a direct sequel. Is it? I feel like you could watch that and almost feel like it's a sequel to the original Scream.
Okay.
With a lot of stuff missing in between. But I think you'd get the gist.
Okay.
Wow. This is like you telling me you just watched the first Iron Man and you haven't seen Avengers Endgame.
Is it? I don't know. Like, slasher movies aren't really my thing.
Oh, okay. Well, there's that. Does Paul like them?
Yes.
I know what you're doing for Friday night movie night.
Seeing Wuthering Heights and then seeing Scream 7. Well, this is our February. If anything excites you out there, go see it. Go support it in theaters if you can, especially the limited releases to show streamers that we like to see movies in theaters. I'll take us out with the quote of the day. Writing can happen really fast if you've done your research about the setting, time, and the characters. Paul Thomas Anderson. It's my nod to one battle after another. Please remember to rate and subscribe. Follow us at ActTwoWriters for more awesome writing stuff. You can follow me, Tasha, at Story Thursday on Instagram.
I'm Josh Hallman on Instagram.
As always, the Act 2 podcast is a production of Act 2 Network and support group for the everyday working screenwriter. This episode was edited by Paul Lundquist.